Versatile Mage. Chapter 356. Totem Beast. Is that why it appeared, but didn't destroy a single building, nor did it cause any casualties? Asked Mo Fan. The news was already public. The skyscraping snake did not trample a single building, nor did it kill a single person. For a gigantic beast like it would have to specifically position itself to avoid trampling on the ant-like humans. Tang Yu nodded. The government knows about your village, and knows it's your god, so they have decided to hide the truth. Asked Mo Fan. Tang Yu continued nodding. But, don't you think? It's terrifying, and if it were to lose control, it would bring utter destruction. Tang Yu giggled. It's able to appear and disappear in the busiest district without anyone noticing. I believe if it were made public, the people of Hangzhou City, or even the entire nation, would go mad. After all, your village might be familiar with your god because it's protecting you, but the others would only be overwhelmed with fear of the unknown. This fear is enough to drive people to do some crazy shit, said Mo Fan. Mo Fan was a magician who had been through a lot recently, and it was rare for him to be afraid of something. Even he was left with a great shadow looming over his heart after seeing it, let alone the ordinary people. Surely many were admitted to the hospital for traumatic shock. Were rather confused, too. The situation 7 days ago was, in fact, the first in many years. We have no idea why it appeared out of nowhere. Normally, it would only do so when it sensed a huge threat in the city. I've brought you here because I want to know more details from you. You were present when it all happened. Did you notice anything out of place, like what it was looking at? Mo Fan recalled the scene, but he could not remember anything out of place. The entire situation was extremely weird. If there was anything in particular, he could only think of how the snake was staring at the building he was in. It looked like it was staring at his floor, right at him. I feel like it was watching me, said Mo Fan honestly. Are you sure? Not really. Its eyes were so huge. Maybe something in the building was making it feel uneasy. I couldn't really tell, said Mo Fan. Meanwhile, Mo Fan wondered if it had anything to do with the demon element. The power granted to him when he demonized was outstanding. If the skyscraping snake were a guardian, could it have appeared after detecting the restless demon blood in his body, but left straight away when it realized he did not pose any threat? But it still did not make sense to Mo Fan. Even when he demonized, his strength would only be comparable to a commander-level demon beast. The skyscraping snake's level was surely higher than the commander level. It was not necessary for it to show itself. Maybe there was, in fact, something in the building he was in. Tang Yu fell into deep thought. She was not worried about how the skyscraping snake had shown itself in front of the public, but rather why it had appeared. So, is the snake like a guardian? Asked Mo Fan seriously. It used to look after a village, but that was thousands of years ago. Now it looks after a city, and the city is called Hangzhou, said Tang Yu. Mo Fan opened his mouth wide. It stayed open for quite some time, as he could not find a word. Who would have thought that such a gigantic beast, which had brought such fear to the people, turned out to be the guardian of the city? It was definitely the most unbelievable secret he had come across so far. Why haven't I heard of it before? Said Mo Fan. You must have heard of totems, right? Tang Yu went to another wall and pointed at the painting on it. Totems. It sounds rather familiar. A long time ago, human tribes had their own flags, and the flags were drawn with totem guardian beasts. Are you telling me that the snake is one of them? Mo Fan immediately realized. The textbooks in his history classes mentioned totems. In ancient times, humans worshipped these totem beasts in exchange for the peace of their habitat. Totem beasts were not real demon beasts, nor were they summoned beasts. They were a unique existence, with no lust to kill humans, but willing to coexist, or even protect them. Unfortunately, these totem beasts had only existed in legends thousands of years ago. With magic becoming part of humans' daily lives, they learned to protect themselves. They only had contact with summoned beasts instead of totem beasts. It's an ancient totem beast. Our people have been protecting it, while it protects the city. Many of the magic associations still reject them, as they fear their overwhelming power. Most totem beasts are now history, and the remaining few rarely show themselves. Humans no longer accept them. I believe only a few people like us are protecting the totem beasts, Tang Yu sighed softly. A totem guardian. I didn't know Miss Tang Yu held such a special identity. How about your role in the magic court? The two don't conflict. The magic court is well aware of its presence. By the way, the head of the magic court is my eldest uncle. Mo Fan was left speechless. His Miss Tang Yu was even more extraordinary than he thought. Her identity as a totem guardian aside, being the niece of the head of the magic court was enough for every renowned family, association, or military to treat her with respect. On that note, why were you at Bo City? Mo Fan recalled an important question. With her formidable background, it did not make sense to send her to a small place like Bo City. It's because there might have been a group of totem guardians like us hiding in Bo City, too, said Tang Yu. A thought crossed Mo Fan's mind when he heard her words. If he remembered correctly, Xinxia had mentioned that the people of Bo City were descendants of guardians appointed by an ancient emperor. But weren't they protecting the underground holy spring? Why would the underground holy spring have anything to do with totem beasts? So does that mean the Black Vatican didn't choose Bo City as the victim of their calamity randomly, just to get revenge on society? Mo Fan finally grasped the true intention behind the Black Vatican's attack. We suspected they were targeting a lost totem beast, but eventually found out their other goals. Unfortunately, I wasn't told to continue the investigation. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 357. Ecdysis. Mo Fan fell into deep thought. Zan Kong had decided not to reveal to the public that he was still alive, as a precaution against the Black Vatican. However, if the Black Vatican were trying hard to get rid of him, it would only be a matter of time until they found out the truth. Mo Fan was bewildered. What did those assholes from the Black Vatican want? Was it the underground holy spring, or the secret of the totem beast? Having this thought, Mo Fan discovered a lovely painting on the wall. It had a gigantic snake that was tall enough to reach the roughly drawn layer of clouds. Under the gigantic snake was a little creature. It was tiny like an earthworm compared to the snake. Mo Fan could not help but exclaim, "So, this skyscraping snake has a little baby, too. It looks rather cute." Tang Yu followed his finger and said with a smile, "The baby you're mentioning is the skyscraping snake itself." "Fuck me, what is the thing above it then?" Mo Fan almost wet his pants. The skyscraping snake definitely had the most shocking size that Mo Fan had ever seen before. If it were cloudy, it could easily connect the ground to the sky. Meanwhile, in the wall painting, the snake in it was more than 10 times bigger. Wouldn't it be shrouding the heavens? I don't know either. It was drawn by people in ancient times. Maybe it's just a wild imagination, that there exists some god that the skyscraping snake worships. It lives up above in the sky, and its size is even crazier, answered Tang Yu. Even their tribe possessed lots of the ancient legends that they could not explain today. After all, it was rather common for knowledge being passed on to be lost somewhere. Mo Fan also agreed that it was mere imagination. Otherwise, if such a gigantic beast were real, he should go to Mars instead. Earth was too dangerous for him. Suddenly, he heard a deep roar that could penetrate into one's soul, extremely close to the lake. Mo Fan began to tremble. He stared at his Miss Tang Yu in disbelief. Don't tell me. It's right here." Mo Fan's expression became weird. Mo Fan now believed Tang Yu's words. Things like totem beasts were discussed in their history textbooks. However, whenever Mo Fan recalled how it could appear out of nowhere, he could still remember the overwhelming fear. The next thing he knew, he was soaked in cold sweat. It's right there. Tang Yu pointed outside. "Miss Tang Yu, why don't we discuss this somewhere else? Let's go to your place," said Mo Fan. Hee, you don't need to be so scared of it. It doesn't bite. Should I bring you closer so you can befriend it? Tang Yu could not stop giggling. No thanks. I'll let you worship your own god. I'm an outsider. I'm sure that your god doesn't like my accent, said Mo Fan sternly. All right, I had my fun. It indeed lives here at the West Lake, but you won't find it even if you dug 3 meters deep into the bottom, said Tang Yu. Why is that? It has been hibernating in the seal of the 3 pools mirroring the moon, but probably around the time when the Black Vatican went to Shanghai to trouble you, the seal of the 3 pools mirroring the moon became unstable, allowing it to appear in Hangzhou or the lake as it wished. Tang Yu brought Mo Fan out to a place where they could see the 3 pools mirroring the moon. With a glance, Mo Fan could see 3 stone statues that looked like cauldrons standing on the surface of the water. It was likely that they were supported by extremely long beams under the water. They were positioned in a special triangular formation, with equal distance between them. The cauldrons had a small flame flickering inside them, which appeared as a reflection on the surface of the water. It has the eyes of terror, which plant a seed of terror in living things that are weaker than it. The seed will grow deep within the soul, and the prey won't know that it has grown into a giant tree. When the prey sees the snake again, it will drop to its knees subconsciously, overwhelmed with fear. Its prey would not have the courage to oppose it, Tang Yu explained. I think so too. Only a woman like Miss Tang Yu is able to stop me from sleeping. Any other demon beast won't be able to do that. Mo Fan chuckled to pretend that he was relaxed. Smooth tongue. Tang Yu rolled her eyes at Mo Fan. Tang Yu had taught Mo Fan the way to overcome the fear. It was fairly simple. As he meditated, when the snake's face appeared, he would have to insist on staring at it without altering his gaze. As long as he overcame the fear once, the seed of fear would no longer sprout. Otherwise, he would be trapped in the nightmare forever, losing his inner peace. Mo Fan went off to make his attempt. It sounded fairly simple from Tang Yu's explanation, but it was not the case when trying to do it. Even though he was only confronting the fear in his spiritual world, he was still soaked with cold sweat. However, the effect was instantaneous. The fear soon disappeared, just like the sweat that had evaporated on the wind. As the fear disappeared, Mo Fan felt like paying the so-called God a visit now. On second thought, he decided not to take the risk. Maybe it was actually not fond of outsiders. It would be a disaster to him if it ended up implanting some spiritual haze in his soul. I thought I could find out the reason why it showed itself in the city from you, so we could take some precautions. It turned out that you're as lost as we are, said Tang Yu as she was taking a walk. Please, I don't think I can be any help for things at that level, said Mo Fan. Why, don't you want to help me? Tang Yu blinked her eyes. It's not that I don't want. Wait, since when did I say I'm helping you? Mo Fan was startled. When you agreed to come. I tell you the secret, and you'll help me with something that has been a headache to me for quite some time. Tang Yu opened her eyes wide. It was a mature, glamorous face, yet she pretended to be naive. Mo Fan was left speechless. As a matter of fact, he felt like he was being tricked here. It felt like Tang Yu was already planning her trick when she asked him here and decided to tell him the secret. Tell me then, what is it that you need? Asked Mo Fan with a wry smile. The god needs to go through ecdysis every 10 years, and the next cycle will be happening fairly soon. The head of the magic court and Heiyu has made me responsible for it, and asked me to choose a few outstanding candidates. During the ecdysis, the god will be extremely weak. It's the only weakness that the god has, thus its natural enemy or those with evil thoughts will try to make use of this opportunity to target it. Prior to the ecdysis, it will be fairly sensitive. It will go berserk as soon as it detects a slight threat, which is the main reason why it appeared in the center of the city. Normally, if we don't open the seal, it wouldn't show itself, said Tang Yu. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 358. A Vicious Plot. So what does it? Mo Fan was trying to say, What did he have anything to do with it? Frankly speaking, we suspect that someone in our tribe is colluding with the enemies. Therefore, no matter how secretive we are being, there's still a chance that the enemy will know about our plan. I've proposed to the head of the magic court that we'll be using some outsider that we could trust, said Tang Yu. So I'm the outsider that you could trust. Mo Fan pointed at his nose with a blank face. Why did he even bother calling Tang Yu in the first place? If he didn't, he wouldn't be in this mess right now. Tang Yu let out a charming smile. Her glamorous eyes were staring right at Mo Fan. I was just having a headache trying to think about what to do when you volunteered yourself. I'm more than happy to take you on board. Mo Fan felt that Tang Yu's current look was like a seductive snake hissing at him, as if she would eat him alive anytime. I trust you, hence why I'm willing to tell you the secret. Besides, you're not one of us, neither are you bound to any organization. A decently clean background. In addition to that, you're smart, you know how to react swiftly to the situation. I believe that you would surely be a great help to your teacher. Tang Yu was so happy that she felt like giving Mo Fan a kiss on his cheeks. She had been troubled by the matter for quite some time. The ecdysis every 10 years was extremely important. Other people might think that the existence of the god would pose a great threat to mankind, but after succeeding the role of a guardian and getting along with the god for so many years, Tang Yu had more confidence than anyone else that it was truly a guardian that cared about the city more than the humans living in it. Humans built the city nurtured the god, and the god protected the humans, while the humans worshipped the god. If the humans could interact with the god like her, they would know how gentle and kind the god was. Tang Yu was one of the rare ones in the tribe that could communicate with the god. Knowing that the god would be fairly hot-tempered during his ecdysis, and would be extremely hostile toward powerful humans or living things, the head of the magic court and Heiyu had decided to place her in charge of the important task. The tribe had many experts, but none of them had the chance to interact with the god on a daily basis. Besides, since the god was rather hot-tempered during his ecdysis, it was better not to let the experts appear close to him. She was surely the best candidate for the job. It was a heavy task, and yet they had learned from reliable sources that there was a traitor in their tribe. It further increased the weight on Tang Yu's shoulders. Coincidentally, Mo Fan had somehow found her. To avoid leaking the information about where the god would be placed during his ecdysis, Mo Fan was the best person to be entrusted with the protection task. Therefore, Tang Yu had told Mo Fan the secret straight away after receiving his call. In other words, she was trying to drag him on board. In terms of the people she could trust, Mo Fan was definitely one of them. Don't forget, you still owe me a favor, Tang Yu said with squinted eyes. I saved your life. Humph, you've already taken advantage of me, said Tang Yu with a blush. Wasn't the favor about a mere stardust magic tool? I'll give you 2 in return. Mo Fan was now a rich guy, too. That was before. Tang Yu blurted out. How unreliable could this man be? He even promised it himself. Meanwhile, Mo Fan was cursing in his heart, trying to find an explanation for how he ended up in such a great mess. Allow me to consider, said Mo Fan. All right. Tang Yu did not force him. After all, it was not just a small favor to ask. If you're not willing, please forget what I've told you. It's better that fewer people know about the existence of the god. The god was not accepted by the people. He would bring extreme fear to them. The government and enforcement union here in Hangzhou might be willing to protect the succession of the ancient totem beasts, but it did not imply that the greater authority governing the nation would allow it. The god's recent appearance in the city had already attracted the attention of the people from the Oriental Pearl Tower and the Magic Palace. They were expecting lots of magicians to come visit them and ask them questions. If they insisted on executing the god, he would not even stand a chance during the ecdysis. Tang Yu bit her lips. Her eyes were fixated on the burning cauldrons on the surface of the water that had existed for a very long time. She only hoped the god could survive the incoming crisis. You look like you really care a lot about it, asked Mo Fan when he saw Tang Yu praying for the skyscraping snake. A long time ago, my father died in a war against the demon beasts. I was living here alone at a very young age. Once, I went to the Lingyan mountain for a little adventure, and stumbled into a beast with sharp fangs that had deserted its tribe. There wasn't anyone nearby, and the beast was starving. I thought I would die there, but after a very long time, when I opened my eyes, I realized that the beast was running away in fear. I turned around and glanced at the West Lake in the dark from the mountain. As the moonlight shone upon it, a gigantic snake shadow faintly appeared. It was my first time seeing it. Tang Yu's lips curled slightly upward before she continued. It was incredibly huge, but I wasn't afraid. It was more like an elder living next door, watching me grow up. As long as I'm here at the West Lake, it will protect me. Mo Fan did not interrupt as he saw Tang Yu telling the tale with a stern look. The reason why humans needed a home was so they could just be themselves, without worrying about anything once they stepped into the door. Most of the kids had grown up peacefully under the protection of their parent and elders. For Tang Yu, the skyscraping snake that had brought terror to the humans of the city had played that important role in her life. It was quite extraordinary. I heard that the skin after the ecdysis is a great material for forging outstanding armor. If I help, you will give me a piece of that guy's skin in return, said Mo Fan. With the skyscraping snake's size, its skin was more than enough to forge thousands of pieces of armor. However, the material had to be refined before it could be forged into a piece of equipment. Rather than the size, the extraordinary power that the bones, blood, skin, or flesh of a demon beast contained mattered more. Therefore, even if it were only enough to forge a few dozen sets of armor, he was not demanding too much to take one of them. So that's what you are thinking of, humph. Tang Yu harumphed. Not entirely. Since you've told me that he is like your elder, then he's an elder to me, too, as we're one family. There's no way I would be a bystander, replied Mo Fan in a stern tone. Who told you that we're one family? Do you have any shame? Tang Yu blushed. Mo Fan burst into laughter when he saw his Miss Tang Yu feeling embarrassed. Tang Yu quickened her pace in a fit of pique. She had no intention to speak any further to her bad student. As a way to conceal her embarrassment, she took out her phone, pretending to be checking the news. However, the embarrassment on her face quickly dissipated. Her face was now flushing red with anger as her eyes stared right on her phone's screen. Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Tang Yu yelled furiously. What is it? They're setting up a plot to frame the big guy. Tang Yu handed her phone to Mo Fan, which was showing the latest news. Chapter N. Versatile Mage. Chapter 359. The Enforcement Union. We've found casualties from the incident with the giant snake. The two hunters were thoroughly corroded by some poison, destroying their appearance beyond recognition. No one was able to tell they were human corpses, but their identities have just been verified. It was confirmed that they had died to the snake's poison after it appeared. Mo Fan read the news out loud. Mo Fan was confused, looking at the news. Didn't they already release an official statement saying that no one had died in the incident? Why would they suddenly find two casualties after such a long time? It's a frame-up. Someone is trying to make false charges against the skyscraping snake. Tang Yu's face turned furiously red. Why would you assume that it's a setup? Tang Yu, your phone is ringing, said Mo Fan. Tang Yu received the call with a frown. From her stern expression, the call was probably from her superior. Come with me. Tang Yu hung up the phone and dragged Mo Fan to the boat. Where are we going? The Enforcement Union's meeting room. Following Tang Yu, Mo Fan arrived with her at Hangzhou's Magic Association building. They took the elevator straight up to the highest floor. It was a meeting room with a clear, spectacular view over the entire city. The entrance of the room was guarded by a group of men in uniforms. Each of them possessed rather outstanding cultivation. Mo Fan could not help but exclaim in his heart, as the guards defending the entrance were all advanced magicians. They waited for a short time outside of the room before a man with black long hair came out. His eagle-like eyes glanced at Tang Yu, then at Mo Fan. "My student, Mo Fan," introduced Tang Yu. The man nodded slightly before inviting the two into the room with a gesture. The room consisted of a standard, huge round table. Several appropriately dressed men and women were seated across the table. There were 7 or 8 of them. The remaining 20-some people stood at the side. They were all from the magic court, judging from their outfits. Those outside of the room were already advanced magicians, but the ones in the room were even more shocking. Was there anyone on the same level as him? These people were the authoritative figures among magicians. Mo Fan could recall the man with the long black hair. He was the one standing on the silver skyscraper while staring the skyscraping snake in the eyes. His strength significantly outmatched Zan Kong's, but even he was standing on the side instead of sitting down. "He's my eldest senior brother, Heiyu. He's also the vice head of the magic court," said Tang Yu in a soft tone to Mo Fan, who was standing beside her. Mo Fan nodded. He was just trying to figure out what level the man's cultivation was when a middle-aged man with a thick beard slammed his hand hard on the table and snapped, "There are people dying, and yet you're still protecting that poisonous snake. The Magic Palace didn't send me here to negotiate. I'm here to eliminate the threat in the West Lake, returning peace to Hangzhou. You better hand over the skyscraping snake to us." Tang Yu glared at the man while cursing under her breath. Mo Fan whispered when he saw her teacher on the verge of losing her temper, "Who's that?" "Zhu Meng, a senator of the Enforcement Union," said Tang Yu, while clenching her teeth. "It seems like he has been getting on your nerves," said Mo Fan. Tang Yu told Mo Fan the entire sequence of events without holding any information back. It turned out that the Enforcement Union was well aware of the existence of the skyscraping snake. The governing body in Hangzhou tacitly consented to the totem tribe inheriting their succession. However, a whole faction in the Magic Palace, under Zhu Meng's lead, greatly opposed it. Zhu Meng's faction in the Magic Association and the Enforcement Union was an untiring advocate of eliminating hidden threats. They proposed that everything that could possibly bring disasters to cities or mankind be eliminated at all cost. As a result, the totem beast living in West Lake was treated as the highest priority to be eliminated in Zhu Meng's faction. They had always kept an eye on the 3 pools mirroring the moon and tirelessly proposed to the highest authorities to eliminate the threat of the city. Frankly speaking, they would not allow the snake to stay inside the city, as no one knew when it would be enraged and bring a great disaster to Hangzhou City. Zhu Meng's proposal had earned support from many senators, thus there was already an operation being planned to eliminate the threat. However, some of the old members strongly advocated that the totem beast was considered a great magical heritage of their nation since ancient times. Furthermore, the skyscraping snake had yet to harm anyone's life. As long as Hangzhou's government did not request an order of expulsion, they had no right to chase the skyscraping snake away from West Lake. In simple words, "This Zhu Meng is your god's greatest enemy," Mo Fan whispered back, as he glanced at the man with the beard. He has come straight here to make a punitive charge against us just when the casualties were found, as if he had been waiting long enough," said Tang Yu. "But why are you so confident that the skyscraping snake is being framed?" Mo Fan was confused. As a matter of fact, Mo Fan did agree that it was too dangerous to let such a gigantic beast reside in the city. If Tang Yu had not told him about the inheritance of their tribe, he would actually lean toward Zhu Meng's proposal. The big guy is poisonous, but he doesn't spread it randomly, nor would he use it against humans. If he were releasing his poison, you won't find a single thing alive in the vicinity of West Lake. A week ago, we sent someone to investigate. The place where he appeared was a construction area where a skyscraper is being built. No one was there when he appeared. Its gigantic size didn't even crush anyone there, let alone poisoning anyone. Tang Yu blurted out angrily. Tang Yu was more familiar with the skyscraping snake than anyone else. He would never kill without a reason, especially humans that worshipped him. The skyscraping snake was definitely not responsible for the corpses that were found a week later. Most importantly, the skyscraping snake excretes a fluid that helps with his ecdysis during this period, thus it wouldn't be poisonous throughout this period. Therefore, someone must have framed up the big guy with the 2 corpses that had appeared out of nowhere. Tang Yu was extremely confident. I see, Mo Fan nodded. The skyscraping snake was not poisonous during the ecdysis, but 2 people had been killed by poison. Mo Fan did not think that Tang Yu would come up with a lie that could be validated very easily. It turned out that someone was indeed purposely framing up the skyscraping snake. Meanwhile, the incident that had lost the public's attention was revived once again due to the casualties. Many people demanded the government to explain themselves. Some even accused the government of hiding the truth. So, you think he's behind it? Mo Fan glanced at the senator called Zhu Meng and whispered. It must be him, said Tang Yu confidently. The skyscraping snake was considered a huge thorn in Zhu Meng's eyes, as its existence alone was a great slap to his face. He had earned his reputation solely from championing his threat elimination strategy. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 360. Threat Elimination Strategy. Relax, Senator Zhu Meng. I believe that you're well aware of the skyscraping snake's capabilities. The situation would be a lot worse if you were to trouble him with such a strong murderous intent. We have to take it slowly, said an aged elder of the magic court with a smile. Enough with the nonsense. You won't be able to make excuses for him this time. Zhu Meng demanded. Make excuses? Why would we need to do that? The black totem snake has been living in this city for God knows how many years. It's his habitat. I seriously don't understand what right we have to drive him away. An elder who was obviously on the side of protecting the totem beast said in a righteous tone. It's your totem. It has nothing to do with us. All I care about is whether this beast will pose a threat to us, said Zhu Meng. I think you're not worried about the black totem snake disrupting peace. You're just concerned that as long as he's still here, your threat elimination strategy would never be in full swing, thus it won't be able to get you more supporters, which means you will never become the president of the Magic Palace. Zhu Meng glanced at the old man with a goatee and burst out laughing. The elder with the goatee harumphed coldly in return. No one in the meeting dared to offend this senator from the enforcement union, but he, Luo Mian, was never afraid of him. Luo Mian was also a senator himself, but he would never allow the black totem snake to be sacrificed as a stepping stone for someone pursuing power. I'll make this clear, Senator Luo Mian. The demon god that they worshipped is harming humans. If you think I'm purposely picking on him, go ahead and try calming the public after the terror that arose recently. Comfort the people living in this city. I bet you can publicly admit that you're worshipping a gigantic snake, and see what they would think, said Zhu Meng. The guardian of the totem beast, Tang Yu, finally ran out of patience and blurted out, the black totem snake would never harm anyone. How do you prove that the 2 corpses were his doing? Where did this brat come from? Do you have the right to speak here? A palace guard standing beside Senator Zhu Meng snapped. Zhu Meng cast a glance at Tang Yu and immediately recognized her. He waved his hand, signaling the royal guard to stand down. Everything has to come with the evidence. Don't you think it's hilarious accusing the black totem snake for the deaths of 2 random corpses you found? Snapped Tang Yu. Tang Yu, enough with that, back off. The head of the magic court, Tang Zheng, rose to his feet and glanced at Zhu Meng. My niece is right. The accusation needs to be backed up with evidence. If our totem beast truly wants to kill, I don't think he would leave the corpses behind, either. Why would there be 2 rotten corpses that were only discovered a week after the incident? Or maybe you think you can treat us like retards and just falsely accuse our totem beast of being responsible for the deaths of the 2 corpses. That's right, we have to investigate the matter further, said a mediator. Investigations aren't my specialty. My job is to eliminate any possible threats. The fact that he had shown himself in the busy city is enough to list him as our highest priority target. You have 2 days to hand over the black totem snake, or I'll deal with him myself. Zhu Meng pointed with 2 fingers in a fairly strong attitude. You're unbelievable. Stop using your bullshit threat elimination strategy to condemn our totem beast. The old man with the goatee roared furiously. I'm a senator. I have the highest authority granted by the Oriental Pearl Tower and the Magic Palace. Now, if I say he's a threat, he is a threat. Zhu Meng had no intention to waste his time further with the stubborn people defending their totem beast. The black totem snake had posed a threat to the city with its sudden appearance. There were casualties being discovered. The people would demand an explanation from the government. Be it a decree or the will of the people, the black totem snake would be eliminated. Zhu Meng brought his royal guards and left, leaving the room of people speechless. Those who were neutral and leaning toward the Oriental Pearl Tower and Magic Palace took their leave. The outcome was basically decided. Zhu Meng had come with a strong statement and evidence. The black totem snake would not be able to escape this time. Most of the people attending the meeting had left, with only the head of the magic court, Tang Zheng, the old man with the goatee, Luo Mian, the man with the long black hair, Heiyu, Tang Yu, and Mo Fan remaining. I didn't expect it to turn out like this, when we've been extremely cautious protecting it, Tang Zheng sighed. He looked rather tired. What should we do now? Zhu Meng is resolved to deal with the totem beast. He has the upper hand this time. Even if we were to submit a written statement to a higher authority, we won't be able to calm the crowd, said Heiyu. I think that Zhu Meng is just trying to act tough. If he wants to take on the totem beast, just let him do it. If he could outmatch the black totem snake, he would have already done so ages ago. Why would he wait until today? He's just scared of the totem beast's strength, said Senator Luo Mian, while stroking his goatee. Senator Luo, you might not know this. The totem beast undergoes ecdysis every 10 years. He only showed himself in the city because he is rather hot-tempered during this period. His strength would be significantly weaker during ecdysis, said Tang Zheng. Are you implying that he will be having his ecdysis soon? Luo Mian was stunned. Absolutely. That's troublesome. This Zhu Meng knew how to pick the right time. We think there's a traitor among us, said Heiyu in a soft voice. It was too much of a coincidence. Zhu Meng had been demanding because he was well prepared. It was most likely that the traitor had told Zhu Meng about the ecdysis. Tang Yu, I want you to bring the totem beast away in advance, and find a safe place for him to finish his ecdysis, said Tang Zheng. Got it. Tang Yu nodded. I'll be responsible for their safety, then, said Heiyu. Tang Zheng shook his head and said, the totem beast is very sensitive during this period. He will be hostile toward any commander-level demon beast or advanced magicians within 20 li of him. Tang Zheng is the only person he will allow within this distance. Tang Zheng specifically glanced at Mo Fan and immediately saw his cultivation without asking. This young magician isn't advanced level yet, so it shouldn't be a problem for him. How could we let an outsider be in charge of something so important? Besides, would an intermediate magician be any use to us? The royal guards that Zhu Meng brought are all experts. Heiyu immediately opposed the suggestion. Heiyu, you're wrong about that. This young magician might actually be a great use to us, stated Tang Zheng. Mo Fan, naturally, was utterly confused as he listened to the conversation. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.